The following is a special presentation of Tony Kurre Radio. From hot dogs to cool kitties, this is Darkside of the Pooch.
All right, welcome back to another Dark Side of the Pooch. He is Dr. Rap Stewart. I am Tony Kurre. This is our podcast. We like to call it shows because I have my own radio station. It's called TKR. And so a show sounds better than a podcast. When you're doing a show, it sounds like you're doing a show, right? Podcast, everyone does podcasts. So we do shows, so it runs 5 days a week. And then, of course, it turns into a podcast. And it's just like, it's like a pickle. You know, there's always different sizes of pickles. It's not the pickle's a pickle. It's how you slice it. You have sandwich stackers. You have hamburger dills. You have bread and butter pickles. You have spicy pickles. You have long cut. You have short cut. You have gherkins. It's all a pickle. It's just how you slice it, right?
You know a lot about pickles.
I really do. So I was looking for a couple things here before we start our show. And by the way, 208-0301 is your phone number, 208-0301. Oh, the show brought to you by Sasquatch Toys and Comics. I just went down to Ed's Pet World earlier today. Got me a big fat rat, which I have forgotten to give my snake. Just remind me, I got to feed my I've got a rat in a box in there. Just remember that. And so I went down there to get a couple things, and they're doing fantastic. Of course, Ed's Pet World's been in business for 50 years. The business is for sale, but they're still open. They may end up moving the store. We don't know. I'm not allowed to talk about it, but still check out Ed's Pet World or Sasquatch Toys and Comics. Comics from the 60s, 70s, 80s. They got watches, all kinds of cool toys that you can find. They're still in the box, so check it out. You got it? All right.
I got it.
I just found a headline here from The Guardian. You ever read The Guardian?
Occasionally I will read an article from The Guardian if someone else has like retweeted it. You know what I'm saying? But I don't go there and to see what's shaking.
It's weird because it's like you get really, I've seen stories on there like about Peter Frampton, you know, like some really interesting rock and roll and then I get a story like this. What I see. Dog treat made from lab grown meat on sale in the UK as retailer claims world first. Dog treat made from lab-grown meat has gone on sale at Pets at Home in a move the retailer claims the world first. Chick bites are made from plant-based ingredients combined with cultivated meat, which is produced by growing cells and does not require the raising or slaughter of animals. The manufacturer, Meatly, says the chicken was produced from a single sample of cells taken from one chicken egg, from which enough cultivated meat could be produced to feed pets forever. It claims the meat is just as tasty, nutritious as traditional chicken breast and contains the amino acids, fatty acids, minerals, and vitamins needed for pet health. In July, the UK became the first country in Europe to back cultivated meat for use in pet food after chicken produced by Meatly was approved by the Department for Environment, Food, and Rural Affairs, also known as DEFRA, and the Animal and Plant Health Agency. Pets at Home said it believed it was the first company in the world to sell cultivated meat for pet food. See, we just did a show last week, a couple days ago. We were talking about all these crazy pet foods out there. What's the dude I told it, what is it called? Uncle Tedley's?
Uncle Fester's famous dog food.
Uncle Fester's and it's like in a pouch. It looks like regular kibbles, but it's supposed to be better because it's got no byproduct in it. But it doesn't look good. It doesn't look like this fresh pet or any of this other stuff that dogs, you know. So we're being fooled into thinking that our animals deserve to eat food that is as good as what we eat, or at least it looks as good as what we eat. And it's supposed to be in their fridge. It's not dog food. It's food is their motto. So now Meatly, Meatly, has now cultivated some cell-borne meat. I guess it's kind of like, it sounds like once you start growing it, once you start growing it, then you're growing it, right? Like you just take a slice off and then you can start. It's like a plant. You can take a piece of the plant off and replant it. So once you get the thing going, then you can just grow whatever you want meat wise.
I have so many things to say about this, and
go ahead.
It doesn't really like pertain to animals at all. Like I'm thinking about what you're saying and I'm applying it to people. Like, first of all, how can we grow meat and we cannot fix my receding hairline? You know, why? How can we grow meat, but yet, I mean, how many millions of people are below the poverty line in America, and we're growing meat to give to our pets? I mean, is it like, can we think about how much does this cost? Like, how much does it cost to do this in a lab? Does it really cost more to give like actual meat, like to produce animals that we eat? Or is this purely like something to appease PETA or whoever?
They're saying that it's going to be a big game changer for climate control, because evidently there's a lot of methane gases that come from cows. And I know that Wendy's or McDonald's or one of these places starting to feed their cows some different type of food so they don't fart as much, because they're saying that 20% of our methane and stuff is coming from waste from cows. Because
that's what we want to worry about. You know, when I get to heaven, and I'm talking to Jesus, and he's asking me to give an account of my life, and I'm going to get to tell him, you know, Jesus, I'm sorry that I come from a people that were more concerned about cow farts than murdering human beings.
Exactly.
I'm really sorry.
It does make you wonder, and it's interesting. Meatly's founding chief executive, Owen Enzer, said, just 2 years ago, this felt like a moonshot. Today we take off. It's a giant leap forward toward a significant a significant market for meat, which is healthy, sustainable, and kind to our planet and other animals. I mean, if this is something that and this has been in the makes, I think you and I actually talked about this maybe a year ago or something. If this is something we can start making, and they're saying it could be potentially in stores, you know, within a couple of years, I don't know if people would eat it. It's supposed to look and taste. It's meat. It's meat. It's just like
it's meatly.
It's meatly, but it's meat. I mean, we're just growing it. It's like if you place the two things beside, they're identical. They have the same vitamin intake. They have the same texture. They have the same. It's not vegetarian meat. It's real meat, but it's grown. I don't know. I don't even know where the cell in vitro cell thing. People don't like, you know, us making things with taking cells. I don't even know if that has anything to do with this. I may be way off. I'm talking about moonshot. I may be way off here, but it doesn't sound right. And again, we were just talking about this pill that now we can give dogs so they can live 2 or 3 years longer. I just think we're really going on a slippery slope when we start screwing with life. When we start adding things, I'm not talking about doing exercise so we can live longer. That's normal. I'm talking about taking some type of medication or making something in a petri dish that is going to help something. It just sounds like Frankenstein's monster to me.
Yeah, I just don't. I just go back to the fact that if this is truly something that at this point it's just going to grow and grow and grow, let's solve world hunger with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there's pets are being sold lab grown meat, but is it safe? It looks absolutely delicious.
You won't know it's safe until like 20 years from now.
Yeah.
That's the problem with anything new. You know, it sounds great and people can, you know, you can do studies on it for a few years. But like, what are the actual real ramifications? You know, you start feeding animals this when they're puppies, and then, you know, all of a sudden, you know, maybe nothing bad happens, you know, but it takes a long time to figure out. I mean, think about how long it took people to figure out. Well, I mean, at least in the public's eye, think about how long people used nicotine. Like, and there was, you know, no one really thought anything about it. And then at some point, someone figured out, oh man, this causes a lot of different types of cancer. Like, how many people have died until we've figured this out? So anything new is like that. And maybe it won't cause any problems. Who knows?
Yeah, I remember vaping when that thing started 10 years ago. Everyone said it was supposed to be, well, it was supposed to be like cigarettes, the way we remember them back in the 20s and 30s. A cigarette actually was considered healthy. On the packets, it said it did. Cigarette smoking was, when it first came out, you could look at some of the old packaging, it actually says before we had the FDA and oversights, but there was actually, they said it was healthy to smoke. It would actually cleanse your lungs. The smoke would cleanse your lungs and stuff. And now, obviously we look back and we're like, wow. But I mean, same society that, buys snake oil, on the sides of roads. So it starts with cells from a fertilized chicken egg. Scientists choose the best ones, making sure they grow continuously into high-quality, safe meat. The cells are then fed a nutrient-rich broth of water, sugars, amino acids, vitamins, minerals, and salts, all brewed up in those huge bioreactors. 2 to 3 weeks later, they harvest what will eventually resemble a chicken fillet. While the concept sounds futuristic, it's grounded in real science. It's existed for years.
I can't wait to live in a house that has nothing in it but very rudimentary furniture. Everything is the same color. I can only watch one channel on TV, and this is the food that pops out of a machine 3 times a day and is fed into my mouth by a machine.
Well, they got this new stuff called Factor now. Have you seen this Factor? It's another Nutrisystem / Harvest, whatever, one of these things that they mail to you, these boxes of Blue Apron, one of these box things where you don't even get me started. There's like 15,000 of these food services now because we're too damn lazy to go to the store. So
can't even go to the store.
So we go online and we order all this stuff to make this wonderful meal, and it sends you the recipes, and you get this big box, and it costs like $8,000, and you get 4 meals out of it, and it everything from they send you the egg, they send you the spices and all that stuff, and you're supposed to be sitting there, open the box, and making this wonderful meal from Blue Apron or whatever it is. And it makes you wonder, are we going to get to a point where, because I mean, if we could, one of our shows we do here is Heart of Alabama Food Bank. They serve, I think it was like 18 million meals last year they served. They cover 35 counties in the great state of Alabama. My good friend Michael Coleman is the CEO down there. And I mean, if we could figure out a way to grow meat so we could take care of the hunger issues here Feeding America in this country. Now I'm thinking to myself, that's life-changing. That's unbelievable. But somehow I think we'd screw it up. We already have an obesity issue. 30% of Americans have an obesity issue, which means we're 30 pounds or more overweight. 30%. You ever go in a doctor's office and there's 28 people in there and 27 of them are morbidly obese? I mean, every one of them is like, wow. I mean, like they're having a hard time getting up. And you're all in a doctor's office. What does that tell you about something? I mean, we're not a very disciplined society.
No.
So if we grew this meat, started feeding it to homeless people, then how would we screw that up? We'd end up gluttony. I mean, would we end up having one of the 7 deadly sins? I mean, what would happen? Will we overeat? I mean, what would happen?
No, there'd be something wrong with this stuff, and then people would eat it, and 2 and 3 years later, they're growing a second head or something. And then,
I saw something yesterday for these small houses. Have you seen these small houses?
You mean like tiny houses?
No, they're smaller than tiny houses. They're only like 200 square feet. They're the size of like one of those barns you'd see, in your backyard.
Outside of Lowe's.
Outside Lowe's, but maybe 5 feet by 5 feet. And they're building.
Oh.
What?
Keep going.
They're building these things. It has an air conditioner in it and has electricity in it, and they're building them for homeless people. Yeah. And you can get like 100 of them in an acre of land. And so rather than have people building their own stuff, they're going to start building small homes, and they just need an area to put them. They need to find an area to put these things. Of course, a lot of the homeless people are like, well, I don't want to live here. I don't want to live in the Walmart parking lot. I want to live on this side of town. And it's like, okay, well, we're trying to help you. So believe it or not, homeless people have rights too, I guess, but they want to live where they want to live. Well, I like the way the stream sounds over here when I get up early in the morning and I feed the chickens and my squirrels, and I'm looking for something to eat. What were you going to say?
What I worry about with that though is, there's probably a pretty big percentage of the homeless population that has a drug abuse problem.
Yeah, 90% of at least according to Jimmy Hell Mission, 90% of the homeless people have some type of drug addiction.
Yeah, and so really now, you're giving them, I almost want to say, a safe place to. Those places are just they're going to get wrecked. They're going to get wrecked. They're going to be tiny drug houses.
When I saw them with air conditioners, I mean, I'm all about building something until we can figure something out. I mean, because if you go to Atlanta, I don't know the last time you went to Atlanta, when you get off the interchange, the 285 interchange, they're panhandling on the interstate. First of all,
no one stops there. That sounds like a terrible idea.
That tells you just how bad the interstate is over there and how slow it is. But there's people panhandling and as you're driving down 285, as you get on 85, if you look on the right side, there's tent after tent after tent after tent, thousands of tents where homeless people are pitching tents right off the interstate. And again, some people, I think, in Las Vegas, they're using the water runoff. Those they've got these huge, they're not, for lack of a better phrase, sewer systems, but they're not sewers for water runoff, because when it rains in Las Vegas, it only has to rain like an inch and it floods, and so the water needs to go somewhere. Well, they've built out these flood tunnels. There's hundreds of miles of them, and now people are living in them. Because it's cool and it's for the most part dry. There's double deck beds. People have televisions down there. They're living with TVs. Wow. Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, go pull it up. So, yeah, I'm with you, because I mean, if you make it easier on them, then what are we doing? You know what I mean? But it just I don't know.
I wish there was a solution. I wish there was a solution, but
I wish there was too.
This is the world. This is the world we live in. And of course there are things you can do. There's small changes you can make. Jimmy Hell Mission is one of them, and there's other places like that around town, and they're doing great work. And so, God bless them. But I think that there comes a line that when you cross, these shelters that, I don't know. I'm not sure it's a good idea. I'm not sure it's a bad idea. But I don't know.
So unfortunately, life is very complicated, and every life and every situation is different. And I've used to do my shows down at Jimmy Hell Mission every year, and we used to do something around the holidays because that's when their need is the greatest. And inevitably, I'd always see someone coming back to Jimmy Hell Mission who 5 or 6 or 7 years earlier had a drug addiction issue, lost their friends, lost their family, lost their wife, lost everything. They went to Jimmy Hell Mission, and they have a program down there. You must go to church. You must read the Bible. You must work. You must get your GED. And they put you through these, and you can stay as long as you want, as long as you're working it. And you end up working at Jimmy Hell Mission, so you can serve to other people, right? And then once you get on your feet, then you shovel out, you eat yourself, and you're back on your feet again.
Yeah, so you're teaching a man to fish, exactly. And with these little air conditioned shelters, you're not teaching them to do anything but keep using drugs.
No, you're not. So it's kind of like, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. I really don't. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Also, Chewy, you going to be watching the Super Bowl on Sunday?
Oh, you betcha.
Chewy, another dog food. Everyone knows about Chewy, the male thing. If the Philadelphia Eagles win Super Bowl 59, Chewy said it'll give away 59,000 free treats for birds, dogs, and cats. While we don't play favorites, we have a soft spot for all animals, Chewy said, and we believe a win for an animal team should be a win for pets everywhere. So, if the Eagles end up winning Super Bowl 59, they're going to give away 59,000 free treats for dogs, cats, and birds. Be looking for that.
How do I get on the list? How do I get on the list for my free treats?
I think it's one of those things where you just you either have to get a Chewy to sign up. It's really a brilliant idea, because you figure 59,000. If they get 1,000 new orders, they're making their money back by because you have to go on Chewy and sign up. They're going to be sending you crap in the mail. So we got that going on. Other story I saw, which is really cool. And I thought about this the other night because my dog is lying on the floor beneath me. He is ready to go for his walk. You ready to go for a walk? He's wagging his tail. He's ready to go. We went on a 5-mile walk yesterday. He wants to go on a walk. We're going to walk him in. Dr. Rabs, we're doing a show. His tail's just wagging. You can probably hear it hitting the floor. Come here. Here. Oh. Come here. Oh. There you go.
There he is.
There's the Rainer dog. Say hello.
There's the Rainer man.
Say hello. Say yes. Yeah. Okay, go back to the later. We'll go for a walk in a minute. Oh. They have this new thing called the Silent Night Cozy Cuddles Snuggle Pod. You ever heard it?
Oh, man, it sounds like something I want to
Brand new out of the UK. It is a dog bed for humans. It is big enough.
Oh my gosh!
Yes,
hey, my daughter has one of these. I'm not kidding. My daughter has one of these.
It's big enough.
I don't know if it's the same one you're talking about.
It's big enough for a 6-foot human being plus one animal. You could probably get 2 in there if you want, depending on the size of the dog, but it's big enough. I'm 6'4", and it would be cramped for me, but it's an oversized dog bed for humans. Some humans are buying them. They don't have dogs. They just look really comfortable. They think they're super cool. But I was sitting on my couch, and I have a recliner. Our daddy always has a recliner, right? I have a recliner. My son has the couch. My other son has another couch. My daughter has her own chair. And so I got a recliner. And so once in a while, I'm like, it'd be really nice if my dog could sit up here. Then I could pet his head, And some people have those love sacks or whatever, those couches, that extend out and stuff like that. And your dog could sit next to you.
Worst name for furniture ever.
The first time I saw it, I thought it was a joke.
Yeah. I thought that makes 2 of us.
Someone's still laughing. It's kind of like that person that names all the characters in the Disney movies. So they came out with this thing, and now, of course, it is selling like gangbusters. I think it's about $139. I'm surprised they haven't sold them here in the United States, but they're big over the UK. But evidently, you can get to lie with your dog, which I think is kind of cool.
Yeah. So my mom got my 6-year-old. My 6-year-old loves to lay on the floor with our dog next to his dog bed, and she will also lay in the dog's dog bed. So for Christmas, my mom got my daughter one of these. We call it the human dog bed. So it's probably, not the same company because, my mom could get it here. I'm not sure where she got it from, but it's the perfect size for my 6-year-old. And she loves it. I mean, there's nights where she will sleep in that on her floor instead of sleeping in her bed.
Yep. I've actually heard of that. It's called the Snuggle Pod. And that was also an article in The Guardian. So you can check that out. All right. Anything else going on in the world of pets? Man, we've been just bumping our gums. We've talked on an entire podcast here. Anything else going on at the store? As a matter of the way, I almost stopped by your office yesterday. I didn't want to scare you. But I got off of, I was looking for a new dog track, and I went to Ross Bridge, and that Ross Bridge walking trail, dude. Yeah. It's like, nice. It's unbelievable. And I walked alongside the railroad tracks for a good 5 or 6 miles and never even got to the end of the track. Then I turned around and came back the other way, and I walked over the railroad tracks and went underneath me. And then I walked all the way down to Ross Bridge, and I saw your lovely hospital down there. And I was going to stop in. I was a sweating mess.
It's really nice. Yeah, they got a lot of trails out here. But we, man, we're just rocking and rolling. I did a spay today. We did a dental procedure. Had a pretty busy day with appointments. So I mean, nothing like Guardian worthy, but it's just regular stuff that helps people and helps us. So that's what we're here for.
You're good, man. You're great. Tell people how they can get in touch with you.
You can call us at 208-0301. You can email us, rossbridgeanimalhospital@gmail.com. You can find us on our website, rossbridgevet.com. Find us on Facebook, too.
Darkside of Pooch, always brought to you by Sasquatch Toys and Comics. They do comics from the 60s, 70s, and 80s. They got all kinds of stuff that's still unopened in boxes. They buy, sell, and trade. So if you find some stuff in the attic, they've got watches, the Battlestar Galactica, Star Wars, Legos, you name it, all kinds of killer toys. I had a friend of mine who was looking for one of those Evel Knievel things, or the Evel Knievel jumpers, the things that you use to spin, you let go, and it goes flying across the floor. He got one of those. So they got all kinds of great vintage toys. Check it out. Of course, Ed's Pet World's been in business for 50 years for all exotic pets needs. I've got my chinchillas down there. Check out Ed's Pet World. Thank you, my friend. We'll talk next week.
Okay, bud. See you then.
This has been a special presentation of Tony Kurre Radio.